the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
Professor Smart Sarpong said ye na ye nim say abato ho ensensem ne ye survey and research there. Professor Smart Sarpong A1 na said ye na ye nim no aka 16 days na ye kwa akoto aba, that is 7 December na Professor Smart Sarpong say or the last research etimi aba beto abonten or say aside that research we know enya ade say ono ebe research bia ebio ntimi na oka say die otimi ekọ all the regions ena okokoye ne research oni nipa na twetwe nkomo oni ne twetwe nkomo wi ane nipa no ama ne feedback ya bisa no MPP ne NDC hwan ena abeto ama no alan kwadwo trematen aba abeka ho nana kwa me bedi akon adodo na ata friend cheda enso aba abeka ho na sa enipa nanyi ena Professor Smart Sarpong etimi eye won survey na abusuafo survey no beto abonten no se okopie mu Ashanti regional omanfo no energy ade no enya asem koto Professor Smart Sarpong eni ewura Paul Adom otere eba betwetwe nkomo na sei ena nkomo no ekọ yenko na yenko tie.
More questions about how you come about it, because we know Professor Lichman, you know him, the American guy who just got the prediction wrong for the first time.
Yes.
And I'm very disappointed that I'm not an American journalist, because I would have made a lot of money. Because in all my interviews, I said that he's getting one of the keys wrong, the recession. He's answering the recession as no recession. Absolutely. And I was saying that the real point about the recession in there is to see whether it's impacting the lives of the people. The lives of Americans is that the economy is bad. So if you say there's no recession, you are probably getting it wrong. Then the other one was the candidate challenged. And my view was that you can't call Kamala Harris an unchallenged candidate, but he did. And if he had gotten those two the way it should be, he would have gotten the prediction right. He would have said Trump will win, because 7 for the ruling party, they win. Less than 7, they lose. So I'm going to ask you now that, how do you come to your conclusions? Let's get the next page. And then after that, I'm going to ask you, what do people... No, I mean the page about the document, how the... Yeah, thank you. After this, I'm going to ask you what were the issues people were looking for before I come to the outcome. Okay, so this is so you had gender here. Let me expand it a little bit so people can see. So you have here gender, male and female. What is frequency? What does it mean?
The counts. So altogether, 99,335 responses were received. And this were...
You are more male.
Yes, more male.
56% male, 43% female.
Absolutely.
Should that suggest to us that adult male are more interested in the election than female?
Absolutely. They get into elections and they are interested into elections more than the females.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Very similar to America.
Yeah. Here in Ghana, that's how it has been for some time.
Religious affiliation. Let me expand a bit. Religious affiliation, you had Christianity, 69% response.
Yes.
Muslim, 24%, and others 6.9%. So overwhelming majority of your respondents are Christians.
Definitely, and it reflects the general demographic situation
of the country. Yes, it does. Okay. All right. So how did you choose these? Or it was after the interview that you put this down?
No. So this is one thing that you would have to do to improve the accuracy of your research. Everybody has one vote, but we have some respondents that are elevated respondents. They don't have one vote in principle. They have some level of influence over a certain group of people. We call them elevated respondents. So instead of doing just any respondent you find within the constituency, you will improve the accuracy of your work if you rather go for elevated respondents. And
please tell Musa Dankwa to tune in. Musa Dankwa, global, he should tune in. Tell him, send it to him, DSTV channel 277. Producer, take this out of the social media, please. DSTV channel 277 and YouTube, Good Evening Ghana. Facebook, Good Evening Ghana official. Tell Musa Dankwa, Joyce Bauer, tell Musa Dankwa to tune in right now and listen to the way the PhDs do their statistics, not the thing, that thing. Okay, please go on. You're explaining to me about how you get these people. Yeah.
Very well. So at the local level, don't underestimate the elevation.
The elevated respondent. That's very interesting.
Absolutely. And you don't underrate the elevation.
An artisan is elevated?
Yeah.
Why do you... I would have thought... Do you put the artisan and the trotro driver and the trotro mate in the same category?
No, these are commercial drivers. And
you put them also as elevated?
The commercial driver and his mate are together elevated. You know, they sometimes generate the conversation in the vehicles that we take.
Yeah.
They serve the people. they encounter most of the problems of at the local level, bad roads and all those things and its effects. They usually.
But if I go to an artisan, a carpenter, to do me a chair, why would he be influencing me? How is he able to influence me on how I vote? I'm paying him.
Yes. No, he's not going to influence you. He has his own constituency, group of people that he too can influence.
By reason of he being an artisan?
Yes, by reason of he being a master craftsman or an artisan.
Oh, I see. That's interesting.
Yeah. And
so a tailor in the community?
Absolutely.
Oh, I see.
So this is something that the stakeholders can take interest in. Do not underestimate the elevation power of the artisans, the hairdressers, the dressmakers, the fashion designers, tailors, the artisans. You see, they would have time to engage in the political activity. They will have time to come and vote. Sometimes, if you compare those who vote, if EC can give us their demographics, you would realize that more elites do not have time to vote as compared to the
time to vote or time to engage. Just the voting.
Engagement is fine. Engagement is
but
part
they may not
of
come
it.
and vote.
In fact, the statistics we have is such that even though elites understand the concepts and they could have made better informed decisions for and behalf of the general population, they rather do not vote much.
I see. Okay, so of the artisans, you got 3.5%.
Absolutely.
Okay. Chief farmer. So are all these elevated?
All these elevated.
All
Chief
of
farmer
these?
is elevated, yes. Okay. Market leaders or market queens.
So you spoke to artisans, chief farmer, clergymen, religious leaders, commercial driver, community member, elected assembly member,
absolutely,
farmer, food vendor, key businessmen, owners of major retail stores, local media practitioners, and what's PIC? Public
Information Center. Or
those places,
those information centers,
Market women and their leaders, mining. What? Mining here means what?
Miners,
okay.
Yes.
Nurse, doctor, health worker.
Yes.
Pensioners,
yeah.
But here you seem to have captured everybody. Who is not here?
You see, you're being part of my...
Student is there,
absolutely,
teacher is there, artisan is there,
yes,
businessman is there. Do you have security, police, military people?
Yes, do
they subject themselves to these things?
Oh, if you go to them, they would subject themselves. But we do not capture them.
Before?
Oh, we do not. Even if I take a police or a security officer's view, he will not be feeling a responder. You know, for each community that I visit, we have community report. We have community report per each community, and we visited 4,272 communities. It's in the next slide we will be coming to.
Yeah.
And for each community, I can produce 4,272 community reports. They are friendly reports, as in conversational reports about their community and how that will impact the coming election in their view.
Wow.
Yeah.
This looks like detailed work. Okay. So this is what constituency level needs.
Yes.
So you assess the constituency level needs.
Yes. So the first level of conversation, I did 4 levels of conversation in my entire research. The first level of conversation will be what constitutes their need and what are the sort of responses they need from stakeholders to make life quite comfortable for them. And then we categorize those local level needs. So this may not be the dollar CD thing we talk about here in Accra.
So when you say constituency, across the country?
Across the country.
And across the country, the most important thing for them was good roads.
Absolutely.
That's what they wanted.
Absolutely.
And they wanted youth employment.
Absolutely.
That's next. Portable water comes after.
Yes.
Skills training.
Yes.
Public toilet facility.
Yes.
Health clinic, CHIPS compound. School renovation building. Electricity extension.
Yes.
Market center. Other is what?
Other is we have a problem. They don't actually pinpoint
anything,
whatever.
Okay. But that was higher than street light.
Oh yes, street light. You know, is not supposed to be a problem because
telecommunications network.
Yes,
that is MTN is working, is not working.
Yes.
I don't see mobile money interoperability or mobile money or money transfer or anything here. It didn't show up.
Those are Accra conversations.
Also, all these conversations, none of them is in Accra.
No, you have communities in Accra
that
are not like the other communities.
So Accra rural?
Yes, Accra rural.
Okay.
In fact, okay, it's fine. My statement will be quite unfair. All communities, not.
All communities,
I wouldn't want to separate Accra communities.
No, they call it Gan rural. When I was doing national service, they were posting us to Gan rural. Whatever it means.
In Anyasotum, in other places, you get places that are somehow rural,
whose cultural and their lifestyle is rural.
Yes.
It's very similar to if you travel further away, but they are in Accra.
They are in Accra.
That's interesting. Okay, so telecommunication network police visibility is that low, community center, ICT lab is the lowest.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
This is interesting.
Yes.
So what people are looking for kind of differs, isn't it?
So I wish campaigns would be guided by data. In fact, one thing that I feel this one, I get the impression that the drip, for example, would have been a research-led intervention.
I'm guessing it is.
Yeah, because once, assuming each of the machines are working,
helping here.
Assuming they are putting it to very good use, and each constituency is able to put it to use and reduce the bad road problem by just say 10%, you can have within the same period 10% across 276
joining into the vote for the NPP.
Not necessarily translating into vote. I'm talking about trying to reduce the problems of the constituency.
I see. So if you fix this will come down.
It will.
But is it coming down in favor of votes?
Definitely, you see, development has a correlation with votes. That one you cannot take away. In fact, I have a community that maybe your producer will put the picture on the screen. Anybody who is able to guess the location where I took that picture, I will dash the person.
Producer, get it for us. Get it for us. Musa Dankwa, call us. If you are listening, Musa Dankwa, we are all learning. Musa Dankwa, we are all learning. The PhDs are talking. We are all learning. Call us. The thing you do, we don't understand it. You are somewhere, no, you come, no, you say, Domahama 78% Ashanti. When they ask you, then you are smiling. But I like his smile. Musa Dankwa has some good smile. You ask him, then he's smiling. You ask him, then he will say that go and check my sample size on my social media page, on my Facebook page. Musa Dankwa, come and watch. Let's all learn together and build a better Ghana, okay? All right. So, producer, get that photograph. When you get it, let me know and let's deal with it. Let's move on. Okay, so now, is that a region I saw?
This is a region.
No. So now I need the national one.
Yeah.
Was it in front?
Yes.
Yes, great.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a real statistician. How did you know it was at the back? I've not taken notice of that.
Yeah.
So this is the controversial thing. Well, I mean, you don't think it's controversial, but
it's not supposed to be controversial.
Based on this detailed work you did, this is what you came up with. Yes. Okay. We've all been having conversations about sample size, and people have been told that they are statistical illiterates if they think that sample size is small. So we are dealing with 18 million people voting, and your sample size is 99,000. Somebody's going to ask, but you 18 million people are going to vote. You go and talk to 99,000 people and come and tell us that somebody will win. How do we, those of us who are uninitiated in statistics, how do we relate to this?
Very well. And I get personally very happy when I am the one being asked to explain.
Yeah.
Because I don't get that hard questions. I don't see that push to the other researchers who will be there in social media, a certain research output will come. They will not even subject themselves to questioning. And I don't see the level of questions I get being put to them. But I'm happy. I am a professor of statistics and I welcome those type of questions.
Maybe sometimes because some of them, they don't tell us where they got the thing from. For the religious people, they say, God told me. You can't interrogate that. For Musa Dankwa, he's just smiling. You don't know what to ask him. But because you have put it out, we can now interrogate it.
Yes. So let me
18 million to 99,000. What's the meaning?
Good. So let me just in 1 minute explain the concept of sampling. Yeah. People have simplified it to mean there's a population and you are selecting part of the population. As simple as that.
Yes. That's how we all see it.
Absolutely. But when you learn sampling, the population, the nature of the population and the size of the population gives you an idea of the minimum sample you can have. So in terms of nature of the population, is either the population is heterogeneous or homogeneous. There are some populations that think alike, do things alike. They are likely to all decide on the same whatever. They are extremely homogeneous population. There, any small sample is fair. In fact, if I come to...
So you go to K2 South. You are sampling. You know that they are likely to decide in the same way. So if you take 3 people and they all say, as we did the last time, we are voting for NDC again.
So when you get that nature, then you can choose homogeneity.
Okay.
And then maybe it can lead you to a certain small sample size. But then we must admit that the entire Ghana, this 18 million we have, is heterogeneous. We are heterogeneous by language, we are heterogeneous by tradition and culture, heterogeneous by chieftaincy, religion, a lot of things.
Even food.
Even food. If you understand that the population we are dealing with is heterogeneous, then you must first submit yourself to the minimum sample size rule. And the minimum sample size rule is estimated. If we had a marker, I would have put out the formula for estimating the minimum.
Oh, there's a formula for estimating the minimum sample size.
Everything
rule.
Science is guided by a certain
so that if you have 5 million, you know the minimum sample size.
Absolutely.
So in that calculation, we can look at it later. What is the minimum sample size for 18 million?
In that calculation, the population of 18 million should require any researcher seeking to do research for purposes of generalization onto this population would have to do a minimum of 16,500.
Only?
Sample. You are taking part of the whole. You are not doing all.
Talking to 16,000 can give you a clear understanding of how 18 million people behave.
I've mentioned one rule. One rule is the minimum sample size.
Minimum
rule.
sample, yes, 16.
In fact, I have people who even.
What's the
disagree.
maximum?
Maximum is the population size.
Oh, I see. Maximum is the entire 18 million.
The entire 18 million.
So if you're doing a sample size by the formula you are aware of, 16,000 should be enough.
16,500 should be enough. But then the second rule says that in spreading the 16,500 onto the population, in selecting those samples, the figures must, or the sample size must reflect all the possible subsamples of that population. Subsample here is defined by 276 constituencies that we have. Mm-hmm. They are the subsamples. Mm-hmm. So the second notice, so I've said first thing. First thing is that if sample size for this type of population we have, in any research that comes out is below 2,000, is below 16,500, is a first red flag. I mean, others can argue, but I'm a professor of statistics. I can prove to you by a formula that if you don't meet that minimum requirement, you have. If I'm assessing your work, I will have a problem with you if I'm your supervisor. Then number two, the issue of subsample, so that you do not have the luxury. It is through you are doing sampling, and that when you select part of the 276, you are safe. Mm-hmm. But unless you are able to prove to me that the 276 are homogeneous, if you admit they are heterogeneous, then you must represent all the subsamples in that your 16,500. So any study that does not admit that all 276 constituencies are heterogeneous in nature and must have subsamples from all, for me, it's a second red flag. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate that this is not a student supervisor matter. If not, I am your supervisor. If you don't satisfy all those rules, you're not going to pass to the next level. Okay. I'm not a difficult supervisor, but I have graduated about 5 PhDs. They are doctors who pass through my hands, and seriously, you respect all the rules before you pass. So that is the second thing, subsample. So if anybody is doing Ghana, we have 276 subsamples. If you come and say, I have selected 100 of them, and I'm going to use them to generalize onto the population, you have trivialized the concept of sampling. You have made it such a simple thing. Then number three, we have the law of inertia of large samples.
Inertia of? Large samples.
Mm-hmm. So if you get the English, it means that as you increase the sample, it tries to converge at the population. Mm-hmm. As you increase the sample. So I am permitted to do a minimum sample of 16,500. But if I want to get convergence at the population, if I want my samples to begin to behave characteristically like the population, I am supposed to enlarge, increase. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I could have done 16,500.
And it will still be valid? Long as you capture the 276 in the 16 and took care of their heterogeneity.
Yes. Okay. But I would have ignored the law of inertia of large samples.
But what does that law do?
The law says
does it bring you closer to the correct?
Absolutely.
Oh, I see.
So that in every study.
But inertia in English means I don't want to do.
Inertia means I'm stopping.
Yes, I don't want to do.
I'm stopping. So as you increase, the level of difference between the sample and the population reduces.
Oh, okay. So the more you go, the closer you are to the population. Okay, so why do you stop at 99? Why didn't you go to say 200,000?
So others could have stopped at 16,500 and there wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah.
So once you meet the minimum threshold, then any increase is intended to reduce the variation between.
Okay. So if you stop at 16, you may end up in your percentage accuracy at 90. But if you go to 99,000, you may end up with 97.
Absolutely. The more you increase, the more you close up there. So let us not, unless for the reasons why people are unable to do large samples, time, blah, blah. If you are in a hurry, you do 2,000 and you come out and do press conference.
Okay. So what questions did you ask them?
Okay. So my first question, like I said, is to have a conversation with them in respect of their local needs. That is my first part. Then the second part, we will try and see whether for their occupation, if there has been some level of help from people who are supposed to help them. Then the third one, the voting pattern of the people in that community. So if elections are usually conducted here, which party usually wins, then they will say, oh, this one, that one, this one, that one. Then the last part will be for you to, we show you the ballot, and then you punch where you're supposed to do. We do two things in that.
So they are telling you how they vote?
The report I'm putting out is how the people voted.
So they were happy as Ghanaians to talk to you about how they vote?
They didn't say it, they punched it.
Oh, okay. So you made it easier for them. Because I was looking at Ghanaian culture doesn't do that. We don't. That's why we're never able to do exit poll.
And so
nobody tells you how they vote.
Absolutely, and you have people who would decline to vote. So
the questioners raise suspicion with your researchers that they are MPP or they are NDC or they are from police or they are from national security and they don't want to talk to them. Did they engage them like that? Did they question them about where they are coming from?
In fact, I have a case at Yabraso in Tyne. Tyne constituency, there's a community, a small community called Yabraso. In fact, that is where the MP, current sitting MP, comes from. In fact, I was called that there is a problem. The people are fabricating onto my team member that he is there to do voter transfer.
Oh, I see.
Meanwhile, what he was there to do had nothing to do with voter transfer, just collecting
So
data.
they raised suspicion?
They did.
Did you find active political party people, NDC and MPP, sort of keeping an eye on the work you are doing and hoping that it doesn't affect their party's fortunes, and therefore when they thought you were doing something that will affect their fortunes, did they attack you? Did you have that kind of situation?
The particular guy I'm speaking about in respect of your Yabraso case was actually attacked. So the case ended in a police